Welcome everyone, and today I'm going to be talking really quickly, hopefully quickly, about a horror movie that I recently saw on Tubi called the Poughkeepsie Tapes. Now, as you can see, this guy it's about a serial killer. It's kind of a found footage film, kind of a pseudo documentary as well, written and directed by John Eric Dowdle. It's about a serial killer in Poughkeepsie, New York, told through interviews, and we get to see some of the killer's own snuff films. It premiered all the way back in May 2007 at a film festival. It was scheduled for a theatrical release by Metro MGM on February 8th, 2008, but the film was removed from the release schedule in spite of promotional advertising. And in July 2014, the film was given its first official release as a video-on-demand title through DirecTV. It was pulled again less than a month later. The film was finally released on DVD and Blu-ray by Scream Factory on October 10th, 2017, and of course it's for streaming, for free for everybody now. I think the real world story about this movie is a lot creepier, or just so much stranger, because how did this just keep not being able to release for over a decade? Oh my goodness. But yeah. So in the film, it's about these people, cops and scientists, researchers, detectives find this house. This killer called the Butcher, or I forget his full name, sorry. His real name is Ed. They find this house. He kind of led them to it, actually. It's revealed at the end of the movie. And he has literally thousands of tapes that he records victims doing things for him, or him killing people, or most of them, like 3/5 of them, are about this one girl called Cheryl Dempsey, who he breaks into her house, kills her boyfriend, and kidnaps her, and basically completely brainwashes her, abuses her. There's even a shocking reveal that he cut off her hand, or maybe her hand had to be cut off when she was in the hospital. I don't think it was explained that well why it was cut off, but anyway. So you see that, and she's kind of the scariest look of the movie because she has like a very blank porcelain skin, white masks and red hair. The most creative thing about this was the real killer framed this cop for it by apparently stealing his sperm from, clinics and placing it on the dead bodies. The guy was executed, and it's really strange because it never showed him saying, "No, I did not do this, you have the wrong guy," and trying to defend himself. He never even said a word, and he gets, lethal injection executed, and they kind of played out that scene a little bit too well. It was like watching a real one, his execution, because they did everything. I don't know what a real one is like, but that one kind of, when they did in the film, it kind of threw me off how precise and detailed they went, like it was fully real. And I guess that's kind of the point of the movie. Like there's this one guy, he's kind of teaching a class, and they go through the tapes, and like people are really the students are really disturbed watching them. There's some humor in the movie, very little, and it's just from people kind of being a little bit awkward and weird who they're interviewing, so I actually really enjoyed those moments. Anyway, the guy gets put to death, but then the real killer reveals that, he's back, or, that they got the wrong guy, and he gives them like a map in a mailbox, one of the police officers, that leads them to his house where all the tapes were, and where Cheryl Dempsey is kept in a box, literally. And they free her, and she commits suicide, and he digs up her dead body and takes it away with him. Very creepy. Now, before this movie, I saw it, I think there's only 2 videos on YouTube going in depth about it with videos. All this quote unquote horror scenes, which they are horror scenes, they were shown in those videos, so there wasn't any shocking surprises. The end credit scene, I don't know if that was supposed to be like a tease for a sequel or something, but alright. I mean, this was back in 2007. This was before the MCU kind of made end credit scenes almost expected when it came to, I don't know, maybe not horror movies, but action, exciting movies. But there was a lot of tense scenes, like when he had the 2 Girl Scouts come into his house, and he's like, "Want to come into my basement?" and then he kind of lifts off the cover of a table, and it's Cheryl Dempsey just under there, and it's kind of creepy how close they were to everything going on. You never see the guy's real face. He wears kind of like a, oh gosh, I forget what it's called, but the mask almost looks like what the Penguin wears in the Telltale Batman games. Again, another thing they may have done for setting up a sequel was that there were 6 tapes missing. And yeah, the guy who revealed it was like, they could have just been, shots where his face was revealed, or he revealed too much about where they were, or about himself, or maybe they were his favorite tapes or something. And they really play up the creepiness and disturbingness of these tapes at the very start. This guy who had to watch and record them all was like, I couldn't get to sleep for a month. I wouldn't be, my wife wouldn't touch me or something like that after she watched one video. Oh yeah, and the guy who was framed got cleared, but it was one day after 9/11, so no one really paid attention or knew about how the killer was still out there. I actually thought the black and white film stuff where you're watching the killer videotape stuff was done really, really well. I kind of, at first thought, hey, this is a little bit too black and white, staticky. I don't know why. I don't think video cameras were that bad back in the day, but then I remembered, wait a minute, I was born in 1999, but I had videotapes, and no, that's exactly how they were like, believe me. So, that was actually, I actually thought that part was done really well. They also explain how he plans out his attacks by, there's this couple who he gets a hitchhike ride from them to go somewhere, and he knocks out the guy and he kidnaps the girl and tortures her. I think, yeah, those are the two where the girl, he decapitates her boyfriend or whoever that guy was and puts his head in her stomach. Yeah, great stuff. I actually thought the freak out moments from him with Cheryl Dempsey and forcing her to call herself slave and him to be called master were pretty freaky. Those are definitely stuck in my head moments from this whole movie. Now, at first I thought it was a little bit weird how they say that the killer changed up his MO, and when he changed up his MO, he was pretending to be a cop, and that's how he got people into a car and kidnapped them. The thing was, though, I thought, well, wait a minute, then why are you accusing this cop of doing it if he changed his MO to be a cop? If, that was his whole thing. Well, I guess it kind of does make sense why they would think that. It's the same guy when it comes to all the other evidence, like he was in the same locations, etc., etc. Because the guy didn't seem to defend himself at all, maybe that also would have been in a sequel about the guy maybe working with the butcher or whatever. It is really hard to talk about the killer full front because you never really see him. You never get a last name until the credits, and I forget what his last name was given. Overall, it was a good watch. I would, overall for horror movies and whatnot, I think the pseudo documentary thing and the found footage, but it's not really found. It's just, well, I guess it is found, but it just appears in the movie. It's not like he's leaking these tapes out one by one to kind of find out where he is or where Cheryl is. They also thought Cheryl Dempsey was dead until she turned up again. There's also this really moment where I just hated the bad guy then, because he goes to Cheryl's mom's house, or where Cheryl lived, and he was like, oh, is there anything I can do? And then he starts kind of laughing, and she realizes, or her mom realizes, that he's the kidnapper, he's the killer. If I was just going to give it a number rating, I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. I think the first half actually was a little bit more boring than the last half. Or it wasn't boring at all, it just went by a little bit longer, felt longer than the last half. Because there's this full scene where he's kidnapping Cheryl Dempsey and killing her boyfriend, and it's kind of disturbing thinking about how he was just in the closet so close to both of them for so long, and they had no clue. Alright. There was no nudity in the movie or real bad words, so the stuff of why it was pulled, I have no idea. I couldn't really make a guess. I'm not that into laws and stuff like that when it comes to movie releases. But I mean, there was one shot, but it was because it was a dead body, so that nudity was obvious and it was a girl and you could only see one of her nips. But overall, if you have time, it's free on Tubi right now. I think it's been free for a very long time on there. Watch it if you want. Share your own opinion. Thanks for watching this little review of the movie, and have a good day.